and welcome everybody. In this boost session in which we reveal how to upgrade your online influencing skills. First of all, this meeting is being recorded. You are all muted upon entry just to avoid background noises. So please keep it that way. Questions are more than welcome. You can put them into the chat. After the session, we have time foreseen to answer them all. Now, our speaker of today is Damoiseaux. Anne is a senior trainer, an excellent facilitator, and transformational business as executive coach. She has been working in an international environment for more than 31 years in Europe, Asia, and USA. Her areas of expertise are leadership, such as diversity leadership and virtual leadership, but also change, team development, team coaching, and of course, executive coaching, and much, much more. Her mission is to develop extraordinary people and unleash their talents. So Anne, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Hilse. And good day to everyone. I don't know if we should say good morning or good afternoon, but anyhow, welcome everybody. On this boost session on effective virtual influence. Let's go for how can you develop some strategies for impact? And the crucial elements, the crucial ingredients for being heard, seen, of course, virtually. This is absolutely important, and I felt this topic would interest some of you, as after 1.5 years almost of being behind the screen, how can we develop our influence strategy? So imagine this conversation, and I'll let you read through for a few seconds, few minutes. Imagine that conversation just like that. This is totally different, right? So the point of this boost session today is to take you through a journey. And I'd like you to reflect on one influence process that you would like to put in place, and to reflect on every element one by one, so that somehow at the end of this boost session, you have some ideas, some next steps for your next influence game. So I really propose you to take a pen, to take a piece of paper, take some personal notes, because I'm going to ask you questions. You don't have to answer them. And of course, if you'd like to share your answers in the chat, will be mostly welcome. Then everybody can be inspired by all the different answers that we can see in the chat. It would be very nice. Plan your perfect virtual influence. There's a plan idea behind it, a plan concept behind it. But the first element I'd like to do is for you, first of all, and you might be surprised because that's not generally the way it works, but it's my way. We all jump from one meeting to another meeting, from one video to another video. We all jump from, we don't have time to close down, up, we reopen another window. So take a few minutes just to relax and to reconnect with yourself. So I invite you to sit down comfortably in your chair, really comfortable. Put your 2 feet on the ground, really flat on the ground, and your 2 hands either on your table or on your laps, on your tights, the way you feel most comfortable. And I invite you to start deep breathing. Just really breathe deeply inside yourself. Reconnect with yourself. You can close your eyes. You don't have to if you don't like to close your eyes. It's all fine. And take some time to reconnect with yourself. breathe deeply. I tend to say that breathing is still free of charge, so enjoy. And connect your feet on the ground. How does it feel? How do you touch the ground? What is the connection? Is it like strong? Is that light? Is it soft? Just notice the connection of your feet on the ground. Keep on deep breathing and feel the textiles on your skin. Feel the clothes on your skin. How is it? How is your body there? Deep breathing. And now, come back into yourself and just identify a place where you feel, there is the topic I'd like to influence a little bit more. I'd like to have a little bit more impact. Identify this topic. Don't judge it. Don't try to say it's good or bad or this or that. Just take the first idea that comes into your mind. What is there? What is the first, the element that you feel like, I'd like to say more about it. I'd like to influence more. And when you are ready, I propose you to come back in this presentation, to reopen your eyes and to be completely with us. And this topic, just like as a startup, influence means the act or power of producing an effect without apparent exertion of force or direct exercise of command. This is the reason why I was asking you what comes spontaneously in your as an idea in yourself, because it's all about like, it's not by force, it's not by command. It's just like, how can you go and flow with this idea? And so, and the journey I'm going to take you is through all these 5 W's, sorry. Who should we target? Who should we go for? Where should we look for? How to approach people? What kind of message can we use with them? And why? Why are we trying to engage with them? What for? Why in the sense of what for? How can we create an emotional conversation? So let's go for the first element. Who? Who should we target? And this is all about the distance bias. Just a question in the chat as well. You can put your answers. When you are in a meeting and you have some people who are close to you in the face-to-face and some people who are far away, how do you maintain the attention of both parts? How is it to maintain the attention of the two parts, the people who are far away and the people who are next to you, the face-to-face? How do you make it? Hilza, what do people say?
Trying to keep eye contact, I see.
Eye contact. Okay, great.
Yes. Questions and names.
Yeah, you question and put names.
Looking at them.
So eye contact again. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, by addressing them again with the names.
Yeah. Yeah. Great.
Eye contact is important, and in online meetings, talking to persons. And Lee says tone of voice.
Yeah, tone of voice. Ah, interesting. Yes, absolutely. There is one thing that is absolutely key in in the distance is that there is a tendency to forget the people who are far away. So there is a tendency, this discovery from the Neuro Leadership Institute, and that is called the distance bias. When we are with people that are far away and people close to us, we have a tendency to go much more attracted to the people who are close to us rather than the people who are far away. So be very careful with this distance bias. This is something you have to plan in your interaction when you want to influence people. You have to build the rapport, and most of you said like eye contact, asking questions, attract the people's interests, keep them interested in and make them think during your discussion. Make it interactive and build rapport, and be careful just by automatic influence. We all know that we are going to be more interested in the people close to us. You know, the small chats inside the people who are in the same room. So be very careful of how much time you allocate to the people who are far away versus the time you allocate to people who are next to you. Be very careful about this distance bias. This is who. Then the second point is, where should we look? When we want to map our influence, where should we have a look at? And this is all about the structural holes. In your network, how did you develop it in order to have structural holes? What does it mean, structural holes? That is people that you know that don't know each other. There's relationships, and there is a structural hole. And the surveys demonstrate that people with all these connections with structural holes have early access to diverse information, even if this information is sometimes contradictory. And therefore, they have a competitive advantage in seeing and developing good ideas. So first reflection for yourself, like note it down for yourself. In your network versus the topic that you have to influence, list 4 names where you have to ask them, where you have to get in touch with them. 1 operational name, so somebody in your job. 1 personal name, so that is somebody you know personally, that may not have nothing to do with your job, but you trust that person as a person. 1 strategic, that is a boss, a top manager, somebody with some power in your organization versus your topic. And 4th, somebody who is innovative. Somebody who for you represents innovation, who has always good ideas, sometimes crazy ideas, but with innovation. And these 4 people, you're going to entertain them with your idea by influencing them. This is the start. Okay. All good for people? So you have the distance bias. You know that you have to take care of people when they are far away, because we have a tendency to forget them. You have now 4 names of who you should influence, definitely, you should interact with regarding the topic that you want to influence on. Now let's see how to approach people with interactivity and credibility. Now, my question is, can you put in the chat, how would be best to influence these people? What can you do virtually? What could you do in order to interact with them? Get some ideas. Provide us some ideas. Hilza, what could be the ideas? What are the ideas? Are there already some ideas in the chat?
Yes, somebody says asking questions during online meetings.
Great.
Asking their point of view, says Marion. Update mail suggestions of readings.
So suggestions of readings. Updated mails, okay.
Yes, and Caroline says enthusiasm.
Show enthusiasm with these people. Yes, very good idea.
Also, use whiteboard or poll during online meetings.
Fantastic. Yeah, use whiteboard polls in the online meeting. Yeah, all right. And again, you try to influence these people. So everybody talks a lot of meetings. And yes, we have meetings. And be careful, because in the real life, we also have some moments where, not in meetings, because meetings are for meetings, you know, very official and very with the list of agenda and so on. But there are also moments when we are face to face, or in the same corridor at least, where you can catch people and you say, hey, what do you know about this? And so on. Oh, by the way, so on. Oh, let's have a coffee together. Oh, let's have, you say there are elements that you can take, some moments you can benefit on. So some tools, yes, you can have some chats with people. Hey, great to have you. What about this topic? Asking a question, an interesting question. What do you know exactly about that topic? Same thing on the short mails, very short. That can be, I love the idea of providing them some articles, some elements of some info, short information. Did you read that, that article? What do you think about blah, 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 my topic? Don't underuse, or just make sure you have enough in your agenda of coffee, virtual coffee discussions. And like any coffee discussion, it means who wants to join, joins, who wants to discuss, discusses, who wants to leave, leaves. It's like a coffee break. But when we are virtually, we have to plan them. I don't know, in your organization, at what time did you enjoy coffee normally? Was it at 10 o'clock once everybody was there and had finished with their meals? Was it just after lunch? And so on. There are rituals in organizations. So same thing, plan these coffee breaks, virtual coffee breaks the same way, and just like 5-10 minutes. They don't last the whole day or the whole morning. Just like make it very focused. And there, of course, you discuss about the successes of the Belgian team in football, and you discuss then about your topic. Hey, what about this? And what about that? And who did this? And who has been interfering that, etc., etc. Send also some virtual gifts cards. Make sure you stay connected with people for birthdays, for well done, for I've seen you in that meeting, wow, applause, etc., etc. Same thing on likes. It's linked to the likes also, either on social media or in your internal network in the company. Create a great interactivity. Be present, and you don't have to be present for 1 hour, 1 hour and a half. Be present for just 1 minute, 30 seconds. People recall you, remind you. Establish credibility. What can build trust? Same thing, same question in the chat. What can build trust by you? What helps for trust in your environment? What helps people to trust you on the topic you want to discuss with them? Any answers, Ilse?
Yes, they are coming. Caroline says professional knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Katja says expertise and preparation.
Yes.
Yes, also your own knowledge of the topic. Again, with
So
the knowledge.
expertise, knowledge. Yeah.
Kim says that I can count on people.
Ah, yeah. Great.
Also expertise. One more time, expertise. It's an important one. Use data.
Expertise, data, knowledge.
Yes, Kelly emphasizes act like an expert. So it's very important.
Okay. Interesting.
Yes, Laurent, open to input. Also, previous successes and results.
Yep.
Yes,
Yes.
I can concur. The way you bring the message.
The way you bring the message. All right.
Yes, and then say to the participants that you are available at any time for questions.
Availability. Okay, openness,
Yes.
availability.
Yes,
Bravo,
and Mariam,
everybody, because altogether you have the formula of trust. Sorry, Hilse, I stopped you.
Oh, no, just two more. A good
Okay.
listener, being a good listener, and being open to feedback. Those are the last
Super.
input.
Wonderful. So you have the perfect formula for trust. Trust is about credibility. So what you have done in the past and what people know about you, your recorded tracks. It's all about how people know about your reliability, what you did in the past, how much you've been supporting people, many times you were there, as you mentioned in the chat, etc., etc. What we call business intimacy is exactly what you mentioned, by expertise, by knowledge, by data, by I know what I talk about. And it's interesting because it's only 1/3 of, well, 1/4 in fact, but 1/3 of the positive of the formula, because people need a lot of reliability and credibility. Like what you say is right in this trust. And it's divided by exactly what happened in the last answers. Open for feedback, listener, reflective, and so on. So it's divided by the self-orientation. The self-orientation is me, myself, and I. So if you're too much me, myself, and I, then trust from the others decrease. If you are less, if you are more open, if you are listening, if you are reflective, if you're open to feedback, you minimize the self-orientation, and it's helping for trust to grow. Fantastic. So reflect on, for your personal topic, of what could be the good questions you could ask your network people in order to create trust, in order to boost trust in your story. All right. And during that time, we will go for the what. I'll give you a few seconds for interest. Check with just record the questions that you can ask that will help your credibility, help your reliability, or help your business intimacy, and show that you're not so much self-oriented. Everyone is, huh? But it's not your primary goal. You really want to influence in order to improve things nicely. Then let's go on the what. Which message should we create? Which message, and how do we go for the what? So I asked you at the beginning, what is creating engagement? Is like to have direct connection, is eye contact, and so on and so on. When you deliver a message, what is creating engagement in your influence process? Just put a few answers in the chat as well. In order to create engagement with core messages, what can really help you in the influence process?
Yes, and Marion says, in the message, showing what's in it for them.
Yes, great. What's in it for them? Yep.
Tatiana says engaging people.
Yeah. And how do you engage people, Tatiana?
Tatiana, maybe you can unmute yourself or put it into the chat, how you see that.
Or put it into the chat, yeah.
Also, enthusiasm in your presentation, your own tone of voice. And Tatiana says, engaging people by involving them in the conversation and giving input. Thank you, Tatiana.
Right. Great.
Caroline says, who does what by when?
Who does what by when? Okay, like having a clear plan.
Yes, one more from Marion, capturing their questions and worries and delivering good answer to it.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. All what you said is absolutely right. And I'm going to give you another tip. Tell stories. Tell your argumentations with a story. Why so? Because when you go for facts, PowerPoint presentations and so on, you are in the language area in the brain. In the language area of the brain, you look for logic. You look for what is the best fact? What is the weak fact? You look for rationals. When you tell stories, you activate another part of the brain, which is the cortex. Actually, two parts of the cortex, the sensory cortex and the motor cortex. And this part of the brain is the part of the brain where, when it's touched, it creates an hormone that is called the oxytocin. And the oxytocin is the hormone of reward. This is the reason why everybody loves stories. Children love stories, adults love stories, we love films, movies that are telling us a story. We go into it, we dive into it. We project ourselves, oh, so poor her, oh, so great her, and so on. We go into that story. So make sure that your influence topic, you explain a story around it, where people can identify themselves, where people can feel rewarded in being in that story. And in order to create that story, I propose you a 4-step story. We did it with the Lord of Rings. It's just an example. So you have the context, that is your topic of the point that you want to influence. So Frodo takes a powerful even ring somewhere, very dangerous, and gets rid of it. Okay. Then in your story, you have the situation. In the ordinary world, the ring appears and starts to corrupt people. This is the situation of the topic that you want to influence. This is where we are. Then here is my proposed solution. We propose to dispose of the ring into the mount, to dispose the ring of the onto Mount Doom. This is a proposed solution. This is what I tell you to do. And why do I tell you to do this? It's because it's going to anticipate some problem. Frodo struggles with the ring's power and everyone keeps the baddies away. So this is the anticipation. That is like, here are the problems and how we want to solve them. This is what we're going to prevent you from doing so. Of course, when you have a good proposed solution that anticipates issues and prevents from issues, then you have an impact. Frodo succeeds and the world returns to normal, though Frodo is changed. Yeah, though our organization is changed. This is really situation, proposed solution, my anticipation of all the problems that we might face, and this is going to be the impact of my proposal. Tell the power of stories. This is absolutely important. And why do we go like this? Why is it that we go like this? It's why do we try to engage that with them like this? It's to create an emotional conversation. People forget about, there's a Maya Angelou sentence. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And this is all about this. Now, let me tell you a story. Connect emotionally. Let me tell you a story. You've been on holidays, 1 week on holidays, beautiful beaches, wonderful food, beautiful hotel, good stay, and so on. In the middle of the week, you lose your purse. You don't know where it is. It's lost. Nevertheless, you continue your holidays, still the beautiful beaches, the sand is still wonderful, great. The food is still great, and so on. You end up your week and you take your plane back, and the plane is delayed. What are you going to remember from your week of holidays? What do you tell your friends when you come back? And we have a little poll, just for fun, of course. No really involving answers. What do you remember most? You can vote several items, but I propose you to vote. Just give us your opinion. What do you remember most? After that week, where the beach was wonderful, the food was great, you lost your purse, and you had a delayed plane. I'm waiting for more people to vote, visibly. Yeah. Yes. You're absolutely right. And you are very human. Absolutely. You remember the purse, the hassle of the purse, and you remember the delayed plane. So it's exactly what Daniel Kahneman measured. What do people remember? They remember the peaks. Either they were negative or positive, and they remember the end. Imagine you lost your purse, but the personnel of the hotel has been so nice with you that they helped you through the bank, they helped you through the embassy, they helped you through, they even collected some money so that you can have some pocket money to finish your week. They gave you some souvenirs of the place so that you don't have a bad souvenir from that hotel place. They make everything to make sure that you have a good memory of that. So it means they create a peak, a positive peak, reverse to the negative peak. And I'm sure that you will remember the hotel as well. And we remember the end. So how do you create in your story, when you influence on that element, how do you create emotional peaks to the person? What can be surprising? What can be even like, what could be the fear of your network if they don't do anything versus your topic? What could be engaging with them? And that's not facts and figures. That's the emotions that are created by whatever you have to sell, whatever you have to influence on. Okay? So plan your perfect virtual influence, Plan really it. Go for these steps. There are many more elements to discuss on, but for a boost lunch, can you put in the chat maybe the first elements that really struck you for your personal influence plan? And then we'll go for the Q&As. Can you just post in the chat what was really, what was the haha moment for you in that presentation?
Yes, Anami says storytelling.
Yeah, great stories. Great.
Yes, same for Tatiana. Yes, Caroline says, indeed, the storytelling.
Yeah, super powerful tool because
Yes.
you call for the emotions of people.
Yes, and according to that, Kathy says connect emotionally. Yes.
We have
Also,
a tendency to invade people with facts and figures that create little emotion. Just go for the emotion. It can be one fact, one figure that create emotion.
Also for Kelly, the storytelling and touching emotion. Kim says people never forgot how you made them feel.
Fully agree. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And just one more, it's very important, the storytelling, but also what people remember.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
So in a virtual influence training or in an influence training, we work very much on elaborating more this network part, this distance bias, how can you overcome distance bias, the tools that you have to use for interactivity, how to reinforce the trust equation with the people and with your topic, of course. And then how to definitely, what kind of stories could be interesting, what kind of emotions can you create, and what will be touching people directly with these emotions. That's exactly what we are doing in an influence training. And face-to-face and definitely virtual. Virtual is tougher. So that's the reason why. Q&As, who has questions?
Okay, Anne. Well, thank you for delivering us this valuable toolkit. We are going to look at the questions in just one moment. But first, if you want to deep dive into influencing skills and learn how to communicate with more impact virtually and face-to-face, together with your colleagues or team, in company is always an option. Let's talk and co-create a learning solution that is tailored to your needs. There is one question, Anne. It was at the moment when you were talking about distance bias. There are a few questions that a participant asked, and one of them is, what type of distance are we talking about? And second question is frequency of contact during the week.
Excellent. What kind of distance? That's the distance between virtual and face-to-face. So when we have a virtual connection, the distance bias is de facto there. We like far from the eyes, far from the heart, we say. Okay, out of sight, out of mind. But that's the British style, the Anglo-Saxon style. We at least, I don't know in Flemish, but in French we say out of sight, out of heart. We tend to forget them emotionally. So that's one thing. That's the distance bias. And how many times we know that if there are people you want to influence, clearly, the minimum requirement is once a week. And again, it doesn't have to be a 3-hour meeting. Yeah, that's not an influence process. Once a week minimum, you can send a little something. What about asking them a question? What about this? Where are you there? What would you recommend me to do? Or, oh, I've seen this. I believe in that idea. What do you think? Etc., etc., with all the tools of interactivity.
Okay, thank you, Anne. And then also when you were talking about distance bias, a question, how does this change in virtual meetings with people in the same country versus people on another side of the world?
Again, it's how much trust do you have in these people? I've seen teams who have never seen each other, but they are used to work virtually. They have been constantly exchanging, constantly drinking coffee together virtually and so on. And they have a very tight relationship, a very tight connection. And I've seen local teams working virtually because of the pandemic, nota bene. and who are far away from each other. They don't connect. They've never been connecting really. Or when they connect, it's for the official meeting with the official agenda, with tasks to make, but no overlapping, no everyone in their silos. By the way, the pandemic has strongly reinforced the silos in the organizations and in the teams. People who work together tend to work more together and less with some peers, less with some other inputs from the company, because we didn't go to the finance department to bring some papers, to exchange with them, to see what was going in there, is there a table there, and so on. We didn't go there. We received the finance table and we filled it in. And this is also not helping the influence. So it's all about short connections, regular connections, informal connections, all what we mentioned in this presentation.
Yes, thank you, Anne. Some participants fully agree with you. Tatiana said it can be very lonely if you used to work with everyone in the office.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And we lose these little informations. That's the reason why virtually we have to plan them and we put them in our agenda. And generally we don't do. We do one meeting and then second meeting and then third meeting and so on. Get some space for 5 minutes with them, 10 minutes with these, 5 minutes with those. It's very key. And you keep the power because you have the information, you know what's going on. And by the way, it's also very important to discuss about the Belgian football results.
Okay, Anne, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Ilse, for your help.
My pleasure. Well, dear participants, this is the end of our session. I just want to say that in the summer, there are no boost sessions planned. We take a short break, but no worries. We will return in September with more inspiring topics and invigorating speakers. So thank you, everybody, for your active participation and attention, and wishing you a very nice weekend. Love to see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Lovely weekend and enjoy your holidays if they come soon. Take care. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
For your listening. Bye.